right, Mississippi State, Alabama. Alabama, huge favorites here in this one, 20.5 point home favorites, 62 the total in this game. Obviously, Mississippi State was having a pretty good season, really good start. Mike Leach, Will Rogers, the quarterback, until last week against Kentucky. They lose 27-17. And really, that score was flattering. They got really outplayed by Kentucky. They minus 254 total yards, Mississippi State to Kentucky in that game. Will Levis was pretty solid. And more than anything, they couldn't stop the ground game. Chris Rodriguez Jr. went nuts running the football against Mississippi State, 196 rushing yards in that game. Alabama, 52-49 loss against Tennessee. Very interesting quote from Saban. You would think Saban, he doesn't like losing. Alabama rarely loses. They were shocking how bad they were on defense. They picked apart in the secondary. And that does concern you when you're facing a pass-heavy offense like Mississippi State and Will Rogers. But Nick Saban had a good quote. He wasn't as angry as I would have thought. And he's kind of relaxed, saying, hey, we just didn't play well. We still have a lot of our goals ahead of us. The West Division. Remember, that was a non-division loss. So that's why the West is still there for the taking for Alabama. They can easily still win the West Division, be in the SEC championship game, win the SEC, still be in the playoff. It's not doom and gloom for Alabama. They just have to take care of business in their own division. And even though, like I say, with the Alabama secondary this year kind of struggling a little bit, you would think maybe Mississippi State can take advantage of that. But at the same point in time, I mean, the last 3 years, Leach here against Saban, 38-7, 41-0, 49-9 for Alabama. I mean, they've just destroyed this team. And Alabama is going to be in a foul mood after losing against Tennessee. So if I had to play this game, I'd actually lay the points, quite honestly, especially after just seeing how much they were porous last week against Kentucky. That Mississippi State offense didn't work. What do you think here, Conor Mack?
I agree. I think this is like a good spot for Alabama, back to a first half here. I think Saban will have the defense better play. One thing, Mississippi State, phenomenal at home, took care of business. Those road games, after seeing that first one, that's why I just love Kentucky. Once Levis was in, I was all in them and even the under in that game. But I think Bama bounces back. You mentioned the secondary get picked apart a little bit. Can they take advantage of that? Can Rogers really take advantage? But one thing, Bama's been so solid at home. Off the loss, now come back home, like you mentioned, and Leach just destroyed. You ran the scores right there. It has not been kind to them. So lose that one, go to Bama. I think they get bounced as well. Maybe look team total, or I always like to go back. I haven't done it in a while. This would be go back to first half here with Alabama.
I know they didn't cover against A&M the last home game, but again, no Bryce Young that day. Bryce Young will be here, and Bryce Young looked fine. Forget about any concerns coming off the injury. He looked great. He was great, even though they lost against Tennessee. Wasn't his fault. Defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Bryce Young played great, in my opinion, against Tennessee last week. What a great football game that was, by the way. Ole Miss Alabama and Tennessee was just an absolutely terrific college football game. Can't ask for much better than that, including a knuckle sandwich field goal for Tennessee to win it at the end.